3 disturbing true horror stories you'll never forget. We like to think the scariest things happen far away, to other people. But the truth is, danger often hides in the most ordinary moments. Tonight, I'll share 3 disturbing true-style stories that will remind you how close horror really is. Story 1. The Ride Home. When I was 21, I worked late shifts at a local grocery store. One night around 11 p.m., I missed the last bus and had to walk home. It wasn't far, maybe 20 minutes, through quiet residential streets. 10 minutes in, I noticed headlights behind me. A car slowed down, creeping along at my pace. I tried to stay calm, telling myself they were just lost. Then, the passenger window rolled down. A man leaned out and called, "Need a ride?" I shook my head and kept walking faster. The car stayed behind me. Every corner I turned, they turned. Finally, the car pulled up beside me. The driver, another man, leaned over and said, "Come on, we'll get you home safe." Something about the way he smiled froze my blood. I bolted, cutting across a yard, sprinting until my lungs burned. The car revved and followed, but the street was too narrow. I made it to a gas station and begged the clerk to let me stay until they left. We watched through the window as the car circled the lot twice before disappearing. For weeks afterward, I had nightmares of that smile, like he knew something I didn't. Story 2. The Empty Room Upstairs. I used to babysit for a family with 2 young kids. They had a big, older house, creaky but cozy. One Saturday night after putting the kids to bed, I settled in the living room to do homework. Around 10 p.m., I heard footsteps upstairs. I froze. Both kids were asleep. I called out, "Hey, are you up?" No answer. The footsteps stopped. I convinced myself it was the house settling. But then I heard it again. Slow, deliberate steps, moving from one room to another. This time, I knew it wasn't pipes or creaks. Heart pounding, I grabbed the landline and called the parents. They told me nobody else should be in the house, and to call 911 immediately. Police arrived within minutes. They searched the entire upstairs and found nothing, until one officer opened a closet in the guest bedroom. The back wall had a small door leading into the attic. Inside, they found evidence of someone living there. Blankets, food wrappers, even a phone charger plugged into the wiring. The kids' parents had no idea. The scariest part? The officer told me whoever had been staying there could have been watching the family for weeks, maybe longer. Story 3. The Hotel Guest. A few years ago, I traveled for work and stayed at a mid-range hotel. It wasn't fancy, but it was clean and quiet. On my second night, I was lying in bed, half asleep, when I heard scratching at the door. At first, I thought it was housekeeping, but it was past midnight. The sound got louder. Then, a knock. Not the kind of knock you'd expect from staff. It was slow, spaced out. I stayed quiet. A voice whispered through the crack, "Let me in." My blood ran cold. I called the front desk and whispered what was happening. The receptionist said, "Stay inside. We'll send security." A few minutes later, there was shouting in the hallway. I pressed my ear to the door. Security was confronting a man who had tried to force his way into several rooms that night. When they searched him, they found a stolen master keycard and a knife. He wasn't a guest. He'd slipped in through the service entrance. I don't like to think about what would have happened if I'd opened the door. The truth is, the real monsters don't live under your bed or in your closet. They drive cars down quiet streets. They hide in spare rooms. They slip into places they don't belong. And it's only when you come face to face with them that you realize there's really no safe place.